We're back here after a 2-0 lead by Classic. It was a mammoth-sized task coming in for Big Gabe, but he is able to do it there with the reverse sweep, getting a 3-2 victory at the end, turning into a giant Brontosaurus and being able to win out in the end. I have Tasteless as well as Nathanius with me here to break things down. Guys, that did all but look dire after the first 2 games, and then all of a sudden, Big Gabe pumps it up.
Dude, he makes for the most epic games. These battles were going on for almost the entirety of the match. Back and forth, this tug of war with the Protoss army against the Terran army. But he did it. He came out in a massive comeback here, and I'm really excited to see how far he can go now.
Yeah, I mean, following this series, the big takeaways for me, you look at a couple of indecisive fights, pulling away, seemed to have a few opportunities that looked his way, and you can really feel like he didn't want to throw away the opportunities that he did have in the first couple of games, which oftentimes that indecision can put you in these spots where Protoss shaves off a bit of your army here, there, an important upgrade finishes, and things just kind of snowball out of control. So looking at the start, you see a lot of that iffiness, but you even have a bit of that as the match starts to turn around. We were in the back, we're looking like, okay, you got some good interference, matrices off, could have tried to dive in on a few of those fights, especially on Disco Bloodbath, but he kept it extremely patient, but I feel like, and he actually just tweeted out, he was like, you know what, he's like, I just decided to just give it my all. It's like, stop thinking about it and just go hard, just play hard StarCraft, not thinking about what's happening in the match, and you can really see where that turnaround comes in because the fights become a lot more decisive. You can really see that, you know, Classic, of course, he knows what he's doing. He's playing very well, but Big Gabe kind of like, he pulled something else out. He brought out some of that X factor that he's not typically known for.
I mean, going into Game 3 here, Nick, it did feel like there were a few moments in the next 3 games where Big Gabe could have finished the game a lot earlier, but was just being a little bit more cautious about the overall finish.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've noticed with his play style in general is that when he starts to engage, he just keeps engaging. And sometimes to win these fights when he has like a smaller amount of his army and he takes a battle that maybe he shouldn't have, but the stamina this guy has in fights and in skirmishes is incredible. And I think we really saw him catch his stride here in Game 3, and this was really the beginning of that comeback.
Yeah, that fight was the entire turning point for this best of 5. As Classic, he's up, and I'm joking backstage, like, okay, you've got 2 bases now because you've lifted your 3rd against the 4-base Protoss. Everything is on the line here. If you lose, if you trade your army, you're going to die. But I think Classic got a little bit with the overextension, and then that first map, Gabe realizes, like, okay, look, my opponent's not untouchable. And the things start to swing back the other way. These pushes he was talking about, the Koreans not having a tremendous amount of practice against, since people usually just do those 3-racks timings following a mine drop or something, could really feel that he made the most of these opportunities, like Phoenix being taken out to deal with the siege tank, which doesn't even actually kill at the start of this fight.
I mean, so this fight in particular here was kind of the beginnings of the never-ending constant battle between these two that just ceased to end, it seems, throughout this game.
It was really cool to see. He did, like we're seeing in this shot here, eat a lot of Psy Storms, which I think was slowing him down. And this moment right here on camera, this was crazy. I mean, denying these upgrades with less than a second for that attack upgrade.
Like that. Hashtag Terran Dreams, hashtag Terran Dreams.
That's it, man.
This was like a game out of, like, I don't know, esports fan fiction or something. You know, like it was
you couldn't write a better story. No, he gets the gnarly.
It's like the final fight in Lord of the Rings, you know, the final battle.
Oh,
I mean, there was so much going on in this
don't
game.
You think this is a little over the top? No, this is what happened. This is what happens when you have such a monolithic Terran player out on the field.
You mean the one outside the gates of Mordor where at the end the troll's running away? It's like the Colossus just running away from the battle. No!
It was pretty crazy, but I think ultimately Classic got worn down. I mean, this is a lot. Obviously, StarCraft, any good game is going to have a decent amount of fights, but there was so much action here. You could see that Classic was not quite able to keep up. A lot of times we have games where somebody wins because of a certain type of strategy, or, you know, one build counters the other. In this case, it was simply because of the fight after fight after fight after fight. Slowly but surely, Gabe was able to come out on top.
Here are our results here so far from the day. Only 1 series down. Nathanius, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, just that series, and then thinking about this group, you know, laws of physics state, you know, inertia is a property where the more mass an object has, the harder it is to get going or stop. And with Big Gabe, with how massive he is now that he's on a roll, I'm scared to think about what could stop him.
Just tumbling and tumbling. Nothing's going to get it.
Nothing's
going to get it. Impressive stuff. And that now brings us on into our next match here in Group C, of course, as our next two heroes. Next two combatants are going to participate in the next match. It will be herO going up against Reynor, of course, here in the next match. And for a lot of people out there, this is quite the fixture because this is Reynor's first foray into a global championships ever when it comes to the global finals on a stage like this. So people are expecting good things from Reynor.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just that this guy is very young. He's also a foreigner. A lot of the best players out here in Korea, they came from StarCraft 1, right? They've been playing RTS for most of their life. And so to see someone as young as Reynor, again, not a Korean, who's this good, who's basically just behind herO, I think, in regards of notoriety, which is a lot. It's going to be cool to see how well he performs here. I think Reynor is supposed to win this, and I think Reynor's supposed to get out of this group, so this is going to be a tough one for herO.
That being said, though, herO on the other side, Nathanius, is a tricky combatant to go up against, because it feels like he really, if there was a true wild card here for this, as for herO has now moved on, herO is definitely the wild card.
The discussion when we started the round of 16 is that herO was a player that wasn't really just talked about a lot, right? When you're looking at what Koreans are going to win this. Oh, Mar, maybe Darks. He looks really good. Classic or Trap, very dangerous players. But herO has just kind of been in that spot where you expect him to take out anyone that doesn't deserve to be in that top 8, right? Like he is going to play consistently. He's going to play well. But the standard for Reynor, if you believe in him as a fan of him, if you've seen what he's done against herO, who cakewalked through his group yesterday, you have to believe that Reynor's going to get out of this group in first place. And it's a very steep standard, and I think that's a lot of pressure to put on him. But the fact of the matter is his games have looked so good since he's been allowed to play in WCS because he was too young beforehand. That's the only reason we haven't seen him on this stage by now, because he would have been here last year had he been, or at least I believe so. So that's it's a really high-pressure situation, but I think Reynor can rise to the occasion.
Maybe, and maybe we even get 2 WCS circuit players out of this group. That would be pretty unimaginable at the start of the day, I suppose. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's see if Germany and Italy can form old alliances once again here for Group C. We're going to head over to herO versus Reynor.
올 한 해 큰 성적을 거둔 적이 없는 것 같은데 이렇게 블리즈컨에 오게 된 것만 해도 정말 행운이라고 생각하고 어렵게 잡은 기회인 만큼 열심히 해가지고 좋은 성과 거두고 싶어요. 마지막까지 결정이 안 된다는 게 이게 굉장히 힘든 일이더라고요. 어렵게 올라온 만큼 블리즈컨에 대한 애정이 좀 각별한 것 같고 연습도 또 열심히 해가지고 지금 폼이 많이 올라왔기 때문에 블리즈컨에서도 더 좋게 작용할 것 같아요. 아직 정해지지 않았을 때는 그거에 대해서 전혀 생각도 안 하고 알긴 알았지만 연연하지 않았어요. 올라오고 나니까 이게 진짜 다행이다 싶더라고요. 지금 조에 만족하게 되는 것 같아요. 일단 제일 괜찮은 게 지금 프로토스 유저로서 프로토스와 하고 싶은 건 지금 당연한 사실이고 도우 형이 제 천적이기도 했지만 최근에 많이 이겼어가지고 도우 형은 괜찮은 것 같고 레이너 선수에 대한 제가 소식을 들었어요. 한국 레더를 6,900을 무슨 4패로 찍었다고 하더라고요. 지금 세랄급으로 막 성장하지 않았나 싶어서 너무 경계되는 대상인 것 같아요. 간다 했는데 이번엔 진짜 가게 될 것 같아요, 군대를. 마지막 시즌일 것 같은데 어렵게 올라온 만큼 동기부여 열심히 해가지고 조 뚫어서 꼭 미국에서 좋은 성적 거두도록 할게요. 많이 응원해주세요. 하이 레이너. 레더에서 엄청 잘한다는 소식을 들었고 요새 폼이 많이 올라온 것 같은데 그건 한국인을 만나지 않아서라고 생각하고 한국인의 매운맛을 보여줄게.
I'm feeling very good, especially now, because I think this is my highest level of play. So, yeah, I really hope I can do well at BlizzCon, and like if I can show my level, pretty okay with that. I hope I don't get nerves or anything. Usually I don't doesn't happen. So yeah, let's hope it goes well. Yeah, I think my PvZ at the moment is very good. So I'm not too sad about my group. Like, it's not Group B, so yeah, it could have been worse. And yeah, they're obviously very strong opponents. To be honest, I don't think I will play versus Gabe unless I lose the PvZs. But yeah, I'm very confident right now. So yeah, should be good, should be good. Yeah, I think I'm okay with playing with Classic. I think I was a lot worse last time I played him. So yeah, I want to see how it goes this time. Should be better. Maybe not the result, but the level of play should be better for sure. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, I think herO and Classic are quite different. You know, herO is considered to be more aggressive in general, more based on timings, and Classic usually is the macro player, even though he's been doing some cheeses lately. So, but I still consider him the macro player of the two. Not really, maybe Big Gabe, you know, because he would be too big to fit in the lobby. So yeah, it would be a bit uncomfortable. In general, it's fine. I can play all of them. I'm very happy that I reached top 16. So yeah, I will keep doing my best and hopefully win this tournament. It would be amazing. Thanks to everyone for sure, because without support, it's always impossible to do the stuff you do. Watch out, herO. I'm coming for you. Yeah, don't be too scared. So yeah, just good luck.
All right, the young Italian gun. He's been coming up through the circuit, challenging herO for his title multiple times this year, and facing off against the Korean player, a veteran of StarCraft, who so many titles to his name in years gone past, and still a top player within his own right.
Yeah, some people might wonder, if he keeps talking about how bad he did in the GSL, how come he made it into the top 8 of the Korean soccer players? Well, we of course have the Intel Extreme Masters in Katowice, and that was by far and away his best performance of the year. He made it top 4 there. That is a super stacked, very, very competitive tournament. I remember his run very well, Big, and I also remember saying that if we have 100 more Katowices that month, he'd never be top 4 again. it was an absolute miracle to me how he made top 4 there. And I've always been a big herO fan, and I love how aggressive he is. But that tournament, I felt like he won series after series where it made no sense.
He was like a cat with 9 lives, right?
Well, 24. He should have lost in like lower bracket round 2 or something. I don't know what happened, but that's why herO is here. And it's exciting to have him here, of course.
Yeah, but of course this young man over here, only really coming of age last year, towards the end of the year, and immediately went through to the grand finals of his first ever WCS tournament. You can see there an impressive list of results, and I think one of the players that has so much excitement behind him, and it's not just the smile, it's not just the fun attitude, it's the fact that in-game, he is super aggressive with his Zergling backstabs. He's a very micro-oriented player. He plays some out-there styles, doesn't just play it by the book, he really kind of drives his own direction through the game of StarCraft.
We're gonna kick things off on Ephemeron here in this best of 5. As you guys can see, Acropolis, World of Sleep is Thunderbird, and if necessary, Winter's Gate. And of course means that 2 lovely maps have been vetoed in the name of Big, Disco Bloodbath, and Triton.
Remember, of course, Triton there, big map being vetoed. We are going to be launching into game to see how this one goes. So we do just have a very quick lobby bug there that's just gone on, quickly restarting that game. We'll be launching it in just a moment. The players just loaded in, and they're going to quickly resume that one. So false start, getting back on the marks and ready to go. I was so excited for that game to start, but only going to have to wait a few more seconds before we do get in.
Yeah, I think everyone is, like we already said a couple of times earlier today, we know what Reynor is capable of. The things that he has done within the WCS circuit are absolutely spectacular, but this is it. These are the tournaments that matter the most. Making it to final after final, like even winning some of these circuit events is fantastic, but we want to see if Reynor can also do it against the Koreans on the biggest stage. Of course, he has been to a GSL before. He made it to the round of 16 back then, got very close actually to making it into the quarterfinals. I remember he was in the winners match. He was up 1-0 over Maru. was leading game 2, then unfortunately he fell apart. And that has happened a couple of times in his career. Reynor often was on the verge of like something great, and then he fell short. Eventually he fixed that within the WCS circuit, but is he going to fix it here on the biggest stage?
And the biggest stage, that's it, right? It's where you're going to get tested, not just for nerves. As he said, he doesn't really get affected too much by nerves, but it's by the caliber of the competition. And you keep talking about herO, how he just kept on making it through series at Katowice. I mean, that's the quality of herO. He beats players who sometimes it looks like he doesn't really hold a candle to them in a macro game, but he finds a way. He plays a very different style of StarCraft. His games are completely different. They are truly unique snowflakes. Every single game is different. All right, let's launch into game and see how this one goes. Up here in the top left-hand side of the map, it is of course his map pick from Ephemeron, the red Protoss player. He is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
And down here in the bottom right-hand side, the young Zerg player in the blue, representing Gamers Origin. It is
Gamers Origin, Reynor.
All right, Piggy, this is it. I love talking about the storylines of these tournaments. I love talking about the history, but now we are actually getting ready to talk about the in-game shenanigans that we can expect of these two. What I'm whoa, that's a fast gas, by the way. Now, often this does happen, right? If Zerg players are not allowed to take their natural because the probe was there a little quicker than it's supposed to be, then Zerg players like to take that gas a little bit faster because, of course, it's hard to keep those drones alive since they have to travel a little bit more. I'm expecting a short and explosive series. We've seen a lot of long drawn-out macro games already, but I think stylistically on paper, this can only mean one thing. This is fireworks, right? This is herO who's going to be aggressive with multiple different two-base timing attacks, and it's up to Reynor to figure out what it is. So I'm expecting a lot of Overlord speed. It's not every Zerg loves Overlord speed, right? But I think when you go up against somebody who is as tricky as herO, as crazy as herO, you always want to invest in Overlord speed to figure out what you're playing against. Yeah. And then obviously, I'm looking forward to that 3 Ravager hit squad.
The 3 Ravager hit squad, something you've been talking about for a few days when we were discussing this match. The Warp Prism, of course, the linchpin for a lot of Protoss pushes, and Reynor has become a specialist at sneaking 3 Ravagers around, sniping that down, and if the Prism falls, the push is pretty much over. It's such a huge hit, so I mean, if herO has done his homework, we might see some Prisms hidden off 3 screens away, like, yes. You know, trying to warp in from way far back to make sure they're not exposed.
But that's the funny thing, right? Even if you know that Reynor is going to try to do that, a lot of the top European Protosses, they know that Reynor is always looking for it, but Reynor is so damn patient with his Ravagers. I think it's the beauty of it. It's not just the idea of getting 3 Ravagers and killing a Prism. If you watch it ever, if you guys ever have the chance to take a look at a first-person view of Reynor, it's so cool how he keeps those Ravagers out of vision, and he's incredibly patient with it, and then he drops those balls at the exact right moment. I must say, so far, I like this by herO, right? herO's doing a really good job in preventing Reynor from going up to 3 bases, and above all, preventing him from taking his natural. This is super annoying stuff if you're Reynor.
Yeah, you want that 3rd base started as quickly as possible. Now, there is going to be a quick Ling speed coming out here. What? One Ling has actually snuck into the main there, damaged a bunch of the probes. 2nd Adept's going to clean that up.
Obviously, he's a good scout as well, right? Immediately.
Yep. These Lings going to come down, look for the Adept, but nice micro. I mean, that's herO's strong point. It's all his ability to just dance units around, known for Blink Stalkers against Terran. Against Zerg, you know, really harassment-oriented, but very strong timing pushes that he can come out with as well. That Phoenix going to shut down the scouting. When you see gases go down, or at least one on the natural, but once this Overlord's gone, that's when the Protoss really starts throwing any crazy curveballs out.
I almost feel like that gas, I wouldn't even believe it if I'm Reynor. I'd be like, yeah, okay, I saw him go up to 3 gases, but is he even, does he mean it, you know? Like, Reynor, or excuse me, herO's definitely the kind of Protoss who's capable of canceling gases and then immediately slapping down 6 gateways and going for some of these crazy attacks. So far, none of that is happening, though. It all looks a little macro-oriented, what herO's doing here.
And he's in a good position. I mean, just because he's forced that delayed natural expansion, the drones from the main have had to run so much further to get down to this 3rd base location. And because of that, Reynor, his economy is not super amazing. Oh, I love this queen positioning on the edge. Great interception.
Yep. Hero has to be very careful there. You don't want to end up losing your Oracle here. Oracles are very expensive. Then we do see 3 more gateways going down. Reynor did not get Overlord speed this game. Now, he does have a lot of links, right? So you can put the links on the other side of the map. You can keep a close eye on what Protoss is doing. Are they going up to 3 bases? Are they saturating 3 bases? Because even just a Nexus doesn't often mean that much. It would be nice for the young Italian to figure out that there are a lot of gateways on the way in the main base.
We're going to see a fake third Nexus go down, I'm pretty sure. herO has cut probing for now. Keep in mind, herO is one of these players where he'll cut probes, then he'll restart probes, then he'll cut them. He's constantly, based on what he's seeing in the game, choosing, am I committing to economy or am I going to just commit everything in the push? Right now, no probe production, sentries, and Immortal. I think we're going to see a Prism after that one Immortal. It looks like he's gearing up for a very strong timing attack.
I love that you said that, because I often have this when I watch herO. From the observer point of view, we see everything, we see the numbers, we're like, he's committing, no, he's transitioning, no, he's committing. It's even hard for us to figure out what is actually going on in the mind of herO. So imagine just playing against him. It must be an absolute nightmare. But just seeing a Nexus does not necessarily mean that this is a Protoss who goes up to 60 probes, who is going to take all 6 gases. And obviously Reynor is going to play it safe. He's building his first roaches of the 53 drone economy while having +1 melee on the way as well.
Yep.
This is a very important scout. Scouting the Warp Prism here, scouting the sentries. I'm expecting Ravages immediately.
Ooh.
And I'm expecting Reynor to start looking for that Warp Prism, because this is a pretty damn scary and intimidating attack.
He just built 4 more workers there. He is up 15 workers at this moment. Reynor very far ahead on the economy. If he can survive this, he'll be very good. There's no Spine Crawler. A Spore Crawler will buy a bit of time, but he does not have a lot of units, and Force Field with that Evolution Chamber is going to be very deadly.
Oh, and 2 Ravages got trapped immediately, actually. The Lynx is zoned out as well. I mean, this Protoss army doesn't look that terrifying, but it is quite scary in this phase in the game. And I think that Reynor has just been a little too greedy. I think he built a few too many drones.
Yeah, that Evo Chamber working against him almost as a force field there. And those Zealots, they don't even need charge, being used with the force field so well. Oh, the triple bile on the back does shut down the Warp Prism. No more reinforcements, but that Immortal still standing strong, laying out the hurt. The drones being forced off the line here. Those Ravages on the backside, he's trying to focus them down. We're going to see herO falling back little bit by little bit, but the Oracle comes in to add its damage. A Stasis Trap goes down, but is sniped quickly by Reynor.
Well, just imagine he didn't get the Warp Prism here. I'm pretty damn sure this game would have been over by now. herO losing a lot of micro potential. herO is actually going to end up losing all of these units.
If he can get that Immortal, that's huge. He's got to stop that Immortal getting home.
I mean, he can always recall it, I guess. I mean, if he wants to recall it, he has to recall it now. That's exactly what herO is going to do. Ends up losing 2 more sentries. You gotta give it to Reynor there. If he doesn't get the Prism, he's straight up dead. There is absolutely no way I think that he defends that. So the 3 Ravages, they weren't ready immediately, but even after losing the first 2 to those force fields, he was able to get 3 Ravages. He sent them via the right side, down the ramp, went full circle, then came up behind the Warp Prism, and he was able to snipe it. And it's what keeps him in this game, but he still took quite some damage.
Yeah, now it drags the game down into one of these weird lower economy matches where, yeah, herO's got the 3rd base, but doesn't have that many workers for it just yet. He's going to add the Forge and the Twilight to include his tech, add some upgrades. No doubt Charge will be on the way. We do see some mid-game blink pushes, so and there's always an option of that, but very typical play from Reynor. Roaches, Roach Speed. Melee upgrade continuing after it was initially cancelled. A Baneling there. So we're going to see a Ravager, Ling, Baneling up into Broodlord tech as the goal, but Hive tech is something that neither player is thinking about just now.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure herO ain't thinking about that. He's like, Broodlords? No way. Games are decided way before that pick, my friend. herO plays a different kind of Protoss, okay? He's getting a Robo Beer and a 2nd Robo. That's actually quite something.
Colossus or Disruptors, do you think?
That's a good question. I mean, I'd normally say Colossus, he's getting +1, but maybe he feels that this is a disruptor kind of game.
A bit of both would be really nice, actually. You know, 1 or 2 disruptor shots can be really good against the Banelings.
And also against Roaches, right? Like, I don't really like Colossus against a guy with a lot of Banelings and Roaches and Ravages. I think Colossus are fantastic against Hydras, but I don't know if they really do that well here. So maybe Disruptors would be the better choice here, but we'll see. I think both are an option. It's honestly kind of hard to figure it out at this point.
Well, I mean, numbers-wise, if we try to figure out who's ahead at this point, I'd say it's a very evenly matched game still. We've got a small economy lead for herO, but, you know, you've got a faster melee upgrade there for Reynor. Reynor's got fantastic creep spread. After that early hold, he's had map control for a while, so even though Reynor's on less workers, he's able to control the map. He's going up to a faster 4th base, and he is still kind of matching the army of herO. What worries me for Reynor is the fact that there's going to be a timing attack window where herO can push him. They're both going to have almost identical army supply with good force fields, with a lot of Colossus in there. That army can do very well versus these low-tech Zerg units.
I actually think if you make Corruptors here, like, this is really funny because it kind of feels like we're talking Wings of Liberty here, right? Like, you gotta make Corruptors against the Colossus attack. Like, these are not things that we talk about very often. But since there is no blink, of course, and I think overall there isn't that much anti-air on the side of herO, I really wouldn't mind Corruptors here coming out of Reynor, just relying on the Corruptors to kill the Colossus, because the rest of this Protoss army is really not gonna be that intimidating to deal with, right?
I've got to agree with that. You know, right now there's a lot of Zealots in there. They are going to have charge, but Banelings don't really care too much about Zealots in these big battles. They're a great backstab unit, really good with the Warp Prism to pull your opponent's attention around, but in a directional, one-directional fight, the Banelings are the hard counter to the Zealots. These Immortals trying to be annoying here. On the right-hand side, those Zerglings going to get a cancel on the 4th. Nice pick up there for Reynor.
That's awesome for Reynor, but a bit sloppy by herO, right? With, like, basically having nothing to worry about here other than controlling your Warp Prism a little bit on the other side of the map. I don't think this was supposed to happen, and I feel like this puts him even more all in. Now, he's going to get a bunch of Stalkers. He does not have Blink, but obviously the Stalkers are going to help quite a bit.
His army supply is massive right now.
Yeah. I mean, but he's got a crazy amount of Zealots. It all comes down to the Colossus, I think. If he keeps the Colossus alive for a long time, then there is hope here for herO.
Whoa, a lot of those Banelings actually getting blasted down by the Stalkers and Colossus there. Reynor right now, he's down 20 army supply. Remember, herO actually built an economy lead for himself early in this match. Corrosive Biles nicely dodged, only 1 sentry falling. Those Banelings, they want to connect. Other Banelings going to get in the force fields, just locking those Banelings out of these fights. Reynor unable to collapse on this army.
Well, Banelings are getting through right now, connecting with sentries. Really good splits there by herO, but it also makes a lot of his units a lot more vulnerable.
The Colossus on the right-hand side, 2 of them go down way too quickly. That Warp Prism so far back, it's not able to pick them up. And this Roach Ravager count looks like it's going to be enough. The Immortals do fall, and those Zealots and Stalkers with very few upgrades, they're just not able to compete too well. The Colossus hot pickups doing what they can, but that's all that's left. It's just 1 Colossus. The hold is good. Reynor hangs onto the 4th base. He's got the economy advantage, and only now a sad 4th base falls, goes down as a backup plan there for herO. So that was a really nice hold there by Reynor. Barely hangs on.
Very well done. I think it helped a lot that it was on creep, right? I think if that fight is off creep, it's so much more difficult for these Banelings and Roaches to get the fight there that they were looking for, but obviously they move so quick on creep. I think herO did an alright job in splitting up his units against the Banes, as the Lings really want to get another cancel, and they somehow do get another cancel. And 5 probes went down as well. Now we do have our first Corruptors added, even though the Great Aspire is not done yet.
I mean, at this point, herO is so far behind. We see this a lot in herO games where he loses a fight and then spends his whole gas bank on remaking his sentries. It's so late in the game, the sentries, you know, they're not particularly good at this point. Once Broodlords are out, they're beyond useless. They're really going to do nothing. Changeling there says, sorry guys, you're not allowed out of here. You don't have the right passcode. And hopefully herO notices, otherwise those are not going to be able to leave the base. That Changeling just on hold position. Nice block by Reynor.
Cats would be very proud of this one. Alright, Corruptors are actually going to get a couple of shots in. herO is moving out with only 2 of his 4 Disruptors, losing a few more probes at home against Banelings from Reynor. Reynor does have to be a little bit careful, right? Because he's thinking about the Great Aspire, he's thinking about the Hive, but he probably just needs to defend one more time. He gets the Disruptors before those fire.
And there's still 2 Disruptors locked in the base at home. herO desperately needs those shots to keep these ground units off his army. It's just a few Stalkers and Sentries right now. Force fields unable to hang on. These Disruptors are finally coming in, but there we go. 1 shot is going to land on the Ravagers in a large way, but there's just too much. Zerglings, Banes do not care about Disruptor Stalker, and they are just overwhelming this force. It looks like herO here unable to make his timing attacks work. Reynor weathering the storm after a very dicey start to that game does barely get the win out.
I think a pretty good debut after all for the young Italian, right? That was a bit of a tricky game. I was honestly quite shocked to see him go up to 58 rounds. Like, I know a lot of focus will always be on the later stages of this game, but I think it's always important to start where things got tricky in the first place, and that was an initial hold. Reynor wasn't ready for that first attack, and that does kind of surprise me because you know you're going up against herO, you know a attack is coming. Of course, it's difficult to figure out which one, but he's always coming with some sort of a mix between Immortals and Gateway units. Maybe there's a Twilight in there somewhere, maybe not, but you know it's coming your way. And I felt that he went a little too greedy and he wasn't ready, because normally those 3 Ravagers, they're ready immediately. Right now he had to morph them while the attack was coming. He ended up losing 2, so he had to remake them. And then I gotta say, fantastic move by swinging around, coming in from behind and still getting that Prism. Because if he doesn't kill the Prism, I think he loses the game immediately in that first push.
Got to agree with you, Roddy. A few mistakes there for Reynor, but as a player myself, absolutely love a chance to get those kind of shakes out in game number 1. We're going to go into map number 2. Alright, and up here in the top left-hand side, after a rough loss there in map number 1, he is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
Going for a very early probe across the map. And his opponent down here in the bottom right-hand side gets some of the nerves and shakes it out in game number 1. Luckily gets the win after a rough start. In the bottom right, he is
Gamer's Origin, Reynor.
I gotta ask you, Pig. I'm surprised that Reynor doesn't take an earlier hatchery here, right? Like after what happened in the first game. Now, once again, because this wasn't even like an immediate probe, this was a pylon probe. So, like, yeah, it arrives quickly. It arrives quickly enough to block a 17 hatch, but you can always decide to take it a little bit faster as a Zerg. Why do you think you didn't do it?
You know, I was wondering, it did feel like maybe the probe was down there like as fast as you could get it, but I don't think it was like a 13 pylon or anything like that where... I mean, I'm not even sure a 13 pylon works on this map. It takes so long just to get down to the front of your natural. You might as well go for the 14 pylon. So I've got to agree with you. I personally feel like if you're looking at this series, you just want to play your most normal game as Reynor. You want to just have no interruptions. Don't let herO mess with you. herO's whole thing is blocking you with pylons. You know, that Adept coming in and delaying the 3rd hatch even longer. Then the Oracle comes in, looks for some damage. I mean, it was great defense of the Stargate units, but you could just see things getting disrupted a little bit. And I think it's easy after a start like that to go, ooh, I've got to catch up. I need to build those extra workers. Turned out to be the wrong decision in that last game. Almost lost him the game to the Immortal Sentry push.
Yeah, that was quite terrifying, and that would have been a very shaky moment, because I know that we all talk about Reynor like one of the favorites, or maybe at least an outsider, to win the entire tournament. But it's obviously quite crazy. This is his very first appearance at the Global Finals. He's only 17 years old, and yes, he's had a fantastic year and a half, and I mean, he hasn't lost to anybody other than herO in those WCS circuit events, if you don't count the winter online defeat against herO Marine, that is. But it's still, like, this is his first time, right? There's always going to be some nerves.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so funny, actually. If you said, you know, 3 or 4 years ago that herO would be the underdog going up against Reynor.
A 17-year-old Italian who makes his debut at the Global Finals, like, yeah, people would have laughed at you.
I don't know, man. I do think back to 2014 when we saw Reynor hit the quarterfinals of a DreamHack tournament as a young 14-year-old. And we were like, wow, okay. I mean, he was maybe only 13 then, actually. He was so young at the time and so good already. Amazing to see him evolve as a player, and I'm still just so impressed. I've talked about it a bit, but I can't keep going on about just how strong his macro's gotten. I think he was a little bit more chancy in his play. You talk to players like Special and others that face him, and they say, oh, you know, he gets away with being, you know, cutting a corner here and there. That's why he's so good. But over time, I think Reynor gets more and more solid. There's less gambles, less chances in his play, but he hasn't lost that flair. You know, those tactical maneuvers, that 3 Ravager squad that you keep talking about in that last game, absolutely saved him. We don't ever see Reynor fall back into this really stiff playstyle. He always stays really adaptive.
Now, last game, herO was quite aggressive, and of course, I agree with everything you said there, Piggy. Last game, he was quite aggressive. This game, I think even more aggressive, right? That's a very fast War Prism. That makes me wonder, herO, where are you going to take this? The Roach Warren is quite fast as well this game. Overlord speed this time around. And this is, of course, a fantastic scout for Reynor, who now kind of knows what he's dealing with, at least to some degree. It's a lot of gateways. It's a very quick prism. Spine crawl, actually. Reynor really respecting this one.
Yeah, very worried because this can often come with a push where they just warp in off 5 gateways and they just attack immediately with this prism and this immortal. Of course, we can see everything. Probes are still queuing up. It looks like just an immortal drop to start things off. And Zerglings and
Is there a
Queens.
sentry in that prism?
Very
yes, there is. And the roaches are not done yet. But I guess this is enough. Yeah, it's enough.
Queens are there. Obviously, the force field on the ramp, something that has ruined a lot of Zerg's dreams in years past. We don't see it as much anymore. Occasionally in a Protoss versus Protoss game. Not so much against the Zerg players. The force field on the ramp, though, very powerful. A Forge goes down. Awesome. So I actually really like this play from herO. He's going to go for +1 upgrades. No doubt will move out for a 3rd base, but we don't really know how many probes he'll build. Usually we see a player ending up pushing with +2 attack and somewhere between 45 and 55 workers. And by that point, if you keep up Immortal production, you can have like 6 Immortals by then. You can have so much anti-roach in your army that it's very hard for the Zerg to hold on.
I gotta say, I like the way that herO has done this so far, right? It may look like he has accomplished absolutely nothing, but he actually forced out an insane amount of units while he was still building probes at home. And he's able to push back the creep a little bit, even force out a spine crawler. I kind of like it, and at this point, Reynor's probably a little bit irritated, because if you make this many units as a Zerg player, you want to fight. You'll be like, come on, I scouted 5 gates and a very quick prism. Why aren't we fighting, right? Why did I make this many units? Did I not have to? So I kind of like that herO has accomplished something while not really committing to anything yet.
Is herO going to take the front third? Oh my. He sees the Zerglings are blocking this, so he sent a probe down to the front third and is definitely thinking about it.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna go for it. It's on the attack path, you know. herO's an attacking player. Even though this third's way harder to defend, herO says, that's fine. I'm going to be the one pushing you all game long. Does kind of forecast his intentions a little bit. We see that Robo still pumping. Overlord is going to see the Forge and the Twilight.
Reynor's got a lot of units out, by the way. He's making more Ravages, more Zerglings at this point. Yes, Reynor's at 52 drones, but I have the feeling that he might want to get a little bit aggressive there. herO not paying attention, ends up losing his Sentry that had a lot of energy as well. So that's rather unfortunate, especially if Reynor decides to become aggressive with all the units that he has.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love Reynor pushing on that third and looking for a cancel at the very least. He's got no creep spread right now, so Reynor's defensive capabilities nowhere nearly as strong as in the previous games. That is such a huge pack of Zerglings, but herO is well set up and he's looking in control of this game. Reynor now finally taking the worker lead pretty much for the first time in this game. A lot of that supply in army, Roaches and Lings right now. He's going to add the Baneling Nest. He's going for the Roach attack upgrades before melee this time around. So a very heavy Roach Ravager army.
Yeah, second Robo Bay being added for herO, who's getting a blink as well. More than halfway done. +1 is finishing up. I guess this game, Colossus, I think, have a little more potential because now he already is going to have the blink upgrade. And I think Colossus in general work very well together with a bunch of Blink Stalkers. Of course, the same can be said for Disruptors, but this time it would hit a little bit quicker. So I think if he does the same attack as he tried in the previous game, it could actually be a little more terrifying to deal with this time around for Reynor.
Reynor's creep is terrible as well. That Immortal, that Prism Micro from herO has been relentless. Nice Zerglings actually picking up a Stalker, but yeah, that Prism, that Immortal, it one-shots Creep Tumors. So he's just picked off the Creep Tumors time and again. I'd love to see Reynor get an Overseer out with his Queens and push this back, because without Creep Spread, you just do not have a lot of defensive power. Now, he spotted the second Robo and the Robotic Support Bay before they finished, but he hasn't dropped a Spire. So I'm not sure if he wasn't looking at it. He's just massing Roaches and Zerglings right now. He might be going for a big timing attack, because otherwise, I mean, what are you doing here as Reynor?
Yeah, it feels like he has been anticipating the attack of herO for the last 3-4 minutes in this game, and it just never came, right? And suddenly we're looking at a Protoss that does have 2 Robos, that does have multiple clusters on the way. Now it's 26 Banelings, so Reynor is absolutely going to be aggressive here. You know, it'd be a sick move if you can get a couple of Banelings to blow up whatever unit is blocking the entrance to the natural and then start dealing some probe damage there, because attacking into the Protoss here, into all these force fields, into the shield batteries, I think that's going to be quite difficult, but he's going to try. Baneling speed is ready in 2 seconds, and that's it.
Nice, Corrosive Vials breaking down the force field. Speedbane still trapped there, though. Quick disengage from Reynor, unable to get through just yet. Remember, the moment he gets in on top of that army, though, things are going to go south very quickly for the Protoss. The Banelings on the south side, they're getting in there on top of those units. They're so clumped up. herO unable to hold on. He's still got the Colossus and Immortals in the back. The Prism is there for the micro capabilities.
I think he's more than okay, because he was quite rich as well, so he can wipe in a lot of stalkers. Now most of the banelings are gone, and I feel with these kind of bane attacks, you need a little more than Reynor got so far. I honestly think that was a pretty successful hold by herO, all things considered. Sure, he lost a lot of units, but he's got a high attack army. He still has a more than playable economy. I mean, this is actually totally fine. Now he's got Blink Stalkers as well.
Oh, he might get ambushed in the middle of the map. This is still a rather scary army. That's a lot of Zerglings, and with 3 Colossus out, I mean, those Zerglings, they look frightening. They'll disappear so quickly when the fight starts.
I think that these Banes are going to get a lot of work done, so a lot of probes are going to fall. Oh, only 5 so far.
This Micro actually does still get 11 though, not bad. He's got to defend the push though. Lots of Ravagers and Banelings. There's 4 Immortals. There's 4 Immortals in that army, Rotterdam.
I'm honestly not sure how Reynor is going to defend this. Reynor is going to try to do whatever he can. He's going to drop a couple of crossing balls. They will connect with Blink Stalkers, not something you see every day. He needs more. That Spire is almost done, but Reynor has no money. Yeah, no, it's pure Roachling. He's not going to have time to get Corruptors out. He's got to defend with this army. There's not a lot of force fields left. You can see here, good pullbacks by herO. He says, come down this ramp, your Banelings, bring them in. The Banelings coming forward. They do find some decent connections there. The Immortals getting exposed. They are going to fall very quickly. Oh! Whoa! He got 4 out of 5 Immortals there. I mean, that's one way to do it, because then maybe Roaches can still get the job done. Wow. Banelings going to roll forward one more time. Reynor is starting to run very low on units, though.
Yeah, I mean, where's the Banelings? They've all been exhausted. It's just Ravagers and Queens right now. They're desperately trying to transfuse. 4 Colossus standing strong, raining down death and destruction. herO just relentless. He's going to keep pushing forward. That Warp Prism still alive. It's about to warp in. One more round of Stalkers coming in here for the front. Reynor needs to hang on. He needs to survive against this push. The drones coming off the line, and they disappear.
Banelings coming in from the top side as well. They're getting some decent connections. One Colossus did finally go down. The second one goes down as well, but it doesn't matter. GG gets called. herO will tie things up. Honestly, a very well played game by herO, and it felt that Reynor was, despite the fact that he had Overlord speed, too in the dark. He couldn't figure it out. He's like, when is this guy gonna attack me? Isn't he supposed to attack me?
Yeah.
And herO's like, well, maybe, eventually, but we'll do the 3 bases double Robo Blink Stalker this time.
You know, Roddy, I saw an Overlord and Overseer fly right over the second Robo in the Robo support bay. I don't think he looked at it. Sometimes, you know, you queue a scout through the base, but you don't actually click on every structure. I think he must have missed it, because it was right after that moment where he just kept building Roaches and Lings, and he ended up going for a timing attack, which is definitely a valid choice, but we saw there, I mean, force fields are really nice. And do you think herO actually took that front third base, almost to bait that sort of attack? Because maybe as Reynor, you think, oh, this third base is so wide open, I'm easily going to crush this with just a Roachling Bane spawn. And it didn't work out for him at all. Good defense by herO.
I felt at one point when Reynor had like 50 drones that he was more than capable of being aggressive, because he had a lot of units already. But it didn't matter. In the end, it is all tied up 1-1 as we're heading into World of Steam.
Tying up the series 1-1 with a very impressive game number 2. Down here in the bottom left of World of Sleepers, the Red Protoss. He is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
And up here in the top right-hand side, unable to crack the Protoss defenses in map number 2, but now on a gigantic map, gonna make the swarm happen. In the top right, he is
Gamer's Origin, Reynor.
For the first time in this series, Reynor is just able to take his natural. I would say that's already a minor victory, right? That will make things a little bit easier to get that economy going early on.
Do you think if you send one of your first probes out, like at the very beginning, you can block it?
I don't know. I think you can, yes, but
maybe barely.
But this is one of these maps where, as a Protoss, I wouldn't enjoy making things too weird.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll just take the expand in the middle, and then they have that rich Vespian gas, and you're like, oh no, what does it mean? You know, it just makes, sometimes making things too complicated isn't necessarily a good thing, because you can get lost into your own tricks as well.
Yeah, we got the mineral wall to worry about as well. Drones can mine that down. It does take 4 drone mineral trips to mine down the wall to the high ground third base option, so you can kind of crack into your opponent's natural and bypass the wall off with that.
Proxy Stargate, maybe?
Looks like it. Such a good build. Ever since the beginning of Legacy, this has been one of those builds that comes in time and again. Saw it used very well by Showtime against Dark. Stats used it against Sterile. It seems like in a best-of-5 Protoss vs Zerg, this just always is used at least one game.
I mean, the upside of this build, of course, is that Oracles show up in the main base a bit quicker. The Spore Crawlers are often not done yet, so you can get quite a few drone kills early on. The downside of it is that you will most likely end up losing this Stargate, so in the later stage of the game, not having a Stargate could become problematic against Midas. But considering the fact that this is herO, I don't think he's really too worried about that. It's probably like kill drone, kill drone, kill drone into next timing attack and win the game.
You know, I really like he's gone Stalker first to deny scouting, and he's actually started Warp Gate before Stargate and not cancelled that at all or delayed it. So the Overlord's seen the early Warp Gate spinning on that, and that usually makes you think this is not a Stargate that you're going up against. So just a very small mind game being played by herO, giving out as much misinformation as possible to try and stop Reynor getting that information. Now, Overlord speed, really good for verifying what's going on, but the way Proxy Stargate works, that first Oracle gets in there just seconds after the Overlord speed comes in. So this is something where you do not actually have time to scout what's going on. I feel like herO's build order definitely has a chance to get him some momentum.
We'll see how many queens there are in the main base. Maybe Reynor can get lucky with a second queen popping at the right time. We do have a Zergling that's on a little adventure, and I believe that Ling is potentially gonna spot it, but that Oracle's almost out already. The Overlords are gonna see there is nothing in the main base. Spore Crawlers have still not been started, so now the question is how many queens are there in the main base of Reynor?
Yeah, that Oracle's going in right now. He sees there's no tech. He's got to realize what's going on. The Oracle hits the main base, and we are going to see a very quick drone pull. Does a Spore trick to save one, to save two drones. Nice micro by Reynor. 4 kills only. That is not too bad, especially when you get that Oracle deep into the orange.
Nope. At this point, obviously, Reynor is aware of the fact that it's a proxy Stargate as well, even though he didn't see it yet. Second Oracle is going to join up with the first one and try to get some more work damage done. I must say, the fact that Reynor took the base in the middle of the map, that makes these drones rather exposed, right? For Oracles coming in from the north and just zapping 1 or 2 drones down and then getting out of there again.
But 4 queens are out, 2 of them rotating around. The Ling's going to depower that Stargate, which of course empowers any sort of Mutalisk tech later in the game. It's going to be hard to build reactive Phoenix.
And he didn't even get a Phoenix out yet, by the way. Whoa, that Oracle I think is going to go down.
Oh!
Whoa, instead he gets the queen. herO is so good with his micro. I mean, I think there's a lot of things about herO's play that are not perfect, but when it comes to microing very few units early on, he's absolutely one of the very best. Gets a Templar Archives behind all of this. You think it's going to just be like a Zealot Archon attack, maybe?
Definitely something which we haven't seen a lot of lately, and with so much Ravager Ling focus out of Zerg players against these Stargate openings, I've been wanting to see more of this come in. Uh-oh, Reynor's not watching that. Main base does react at the last second.
Perfect.
Yeah, good defense. Only 2 drones getting locked. That's very efficient. Doesn't lose you too much mining. But yeah, I've been wanting these attacks to come back in because I feel like players are droning so hard against the Oracles. They're going for Roaches very late. And even when they build Roaches, they're like, yeah, here's 4 Ravagers. And then they're just going Massling Bane a lot of the time. So the old school Charge Lord Archon attacks really powerful against Ravager Ling.
How cool is this? Like, herO's taking the base in the middle as well, also with access to this rich Vespian gas. So he can obviously end up making an insane amount of Archons, maybe even get Storm. He did not start Charge yet. I don't know if that's a mistake or not. I almost feel like it has to be because it's so cheap. Okay, there we go. He just fires it up right now. I guess he just didn't really want it that early. He wanted to get a few other things out before he started this upgrade.
He's looking for, I wouldn't be surprised to see a +1 Immortal Archon Sentry timing attack coming out. This really looks like it'll build into a really nice like 55, 60 probe timing attack. Oh, good Archon focus fire. Does take down that Queen there. Picks up, gets out of there. Really beautiful micro. I'd love to see the units lost tab at some point. I'm sure we'll see. It feels like herO has lost almost nothing this game. Just being so efficient, getting in and out. The Zerglings catch a probe, but the Oracle defending that 3rd base. And I'm once again looking at this and saying, you know what? herO's economy looks solid. He's got really high tech units out. This is awesome for herO.
Yep, Reynor now finally getting into like the 60s when it comes to the drone count. Don't forget that he does have access to that rich Vespian gas, so the economy is not maybe as bad as it looks or as it would be in some of the other maps. Of course, the same can be said for herO, but I think it helps Reynor a little bit more in this situation. If I was Reynor, I'd probably just build an insane amount of Roaches and Ravages and eventually Banelings as well, because I have the feeling that this is that kind of game. I don't think that herO is going to sit back and make a Robo. Well, there we go. Second Robo. And then I guess the Robo Bay again, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, right? I don't think you're just going to go mass Immortal. I really thought it was going to be an Archon Immortal push. I mean, you can play double Robo Immortal, of course, but the Ling Bane very powerful against that composition. That's usually, you know, more of an old school style.
That stasis didn't really work out. A single drone will get trapped, but the Oracle goes down. And that's actually kind of a big deal, because don't forget, he lost his target. Takes a lot of damage on his Warp Prism now as well. herO, you gotta be careful here. You're playing a very dangerous game. So far, Pick, it's just that second Robo. We don't have a Robo Bay this game. So Immortal, Zealot, Archon.
Yeah, I mean, Immortal's a very good, well-rounded unit. And there's going to be a lot of sustained production of that. Once again, the economy of herO. I mean, you've got a player, everyone's so afraid of his timing attacks. Yeah. But because of this, Reynor's never really taking an economic lead. He wants to be so heavy on units, but herO's not rushing into these engagements. Reynor would love for him to just headbutt forwards and get wrecked. But once again, a ton of Immortals, 2 being built at a time, a good sentry count. I mean, herO's gonna try and defend this base. I think with the positioning, it's wide open. It's hard to defend against Ravager Ling.
It is hard, but you say with the shield batteries and that Warp Prism as well, that it should actually be possible. I don't think you have to chase there, herO, because you are building a lot of Immortals, and Immortals are very good. This one Oracle is actually putting in some work on that one Ravager. Now the Baneling Nest gets added, and Reynor adds 7 more drones. So Reynor's definitely not all out committing to this. Yeah. I think he looked at his arm and he's like, that's a lot of Immortals. Maybe a few more Immortals than he anticipated. So Reynor's going to have to disengage for now.
I'd like Reynor to backstab. I think at the moment, you know, I want to see Reynor start to just peek around a little bit and see if he can find an opening. I love the creep spreads continuing. He's droning up the 4th base now, so he's continuing his tech progression. He's adding melee upgrades and a Baneling Nest, but still no second Evo Chamber, no Infestation Pit on the way.
I think you can see a little bit of nerves on the side of Reynor, because he's already maxed out on supply, 200 out of 200, and he just queued up 4 Overlords. So, I mean, I guess you could lose one eventually with scouting and stuff, but that seems a little too much. All these Ravages are very nice, because the army of herO, like herO's army is powerful, but I like to call this kind of a clumsy army, right? Yeah. It's not really an army that allows you to make really cool moves. Like, no, it kind of just stands there and it fights. And you can save units, but you can't really be that aggressive with it.
Oh, the force fields could be huge. Reynor's kind of trapped a little bit, but the Biles do scare herO. Traps a few Ravagers on the south side. Big army coming in. Zerglings on the top are going to be able to stop. That's a big arc of Ravagers.
Yeah, Reynor needs to kite this for as long as he can and drop as many Corrosive Biles as long as he can. He does get a cancel on the 4th base on the other side of the map. herO just wants to stand here and fight. Reynor, I think, is doing the right thing by not giving herO that fight yet.
Yeah, he's got to keep zoning out with those Biles. Those force fields are going to run out eventually, but he's actually even warped in a few more sentries there. herO realizing that he needs to split this army in half. Anytime he forces Reynor to stand and fight, it's going to be a good option for herO.
Banelings are going to come in from every angle soon. +1 is almost done. Reynor spreading out these units. These Archons in the front are taking a lot of damage.
The Banelings just slid through there. All the Immortal barriers disappeared, and Biles followed it up and landing on top. There's still a big core of Immortals in that army. Right now, they're trying to fight, but that is a flood of Zerg units and so many corrosive Biles.
It almost feels like just Lings here would be quite good, no? Because there are, I guess there's a couple of Zealots in the mix, but no more Archons. So Lings, I think, are going to be very, very powerful. Reynor seems to agree. We see a couple of Lings streaming in. It's just Immortals, but Immortals are not that great against Lings and Ravagers.
The Zealots need to get here. He needs to keep these Immortals alive. One more falls. I mean, both sides having very expensive units. The Ravagers cannot afford to go down for herO. herO, the Immortals are his big important resource. Both players have to be so careful in these next engagements.
I was about to say, I wouldn't even mind a recall here by herO, but he's just gonna run away with the majority of his units. I mean, I think in the end that was quite alright for herO because he got a base. And getting a base is massive. Yes, he lost all the Archons, but he's already rebuilding a couple of them. Of course, unfortunate for herO that he lost his 4th base. Otherwise, he would be in a magnificent position. But even now, I mean, he's a Protoss who's up in Workers, still has a couple of Immortals of the previous fight. You gotta be quite pleased with this if you're herO.
I mean, I feel like herO is playing his reputation so well throughout this series. He keeps threatening, he keeps showing things that are scary, and then just progressing to the next stage of the game. He's letting Reynor play scared, play overly safe, and it's working so well. Look at that, Baneling run by finds nothing.
No, he's absolutely playing into his own image. He's like, I know you're afraid, I know you think I'm gonna attack here. And then he does always attack because it's herO, but he just attacks a little bit later than Reynor is anticipating him to, and that's often makes it for a rather poor economy on the side of Reynor.
Yep, you can't play safe against everything Rotterdam. Right now, Reynor's trying to do that, and because of that, he's fighting with less units. He needs an amazing engagement. Once again, he finds himself down on numbers. Corrosive Biles blanket the army, but a good spread there from herO.
I was like, he doesn't have Storm, does he? He's like, why is he running around with High Templars? But okay, I just forgot to morph it into an Archon. Reynor is going to abandon this base for now, feeling that he simply does not have the right amount of units to defend. The Ravagers can still get the job done here. It just all comes down to the kiting and maybe a couple of rather fortunate Biles. But things are starting to look worse and worse for the young Italian. These two Immortals are being added once again for herO. herO's playing a really fun series.
Yeah.
He's just making it so damn hard for Reynor to figure out what the hell is going on in these games. He's playing into his image and he's controlling his units very well.
You know, Ravagers are a great early game unit. They're not bad in the mid game. But once you start hitting 8 to 10 Immortals, 8 to 10 Archons, Ravagers, Lings, Banelings, these aren't the units you want in these big engagements. We've got +2 attack, we've got a ton of Immortals on the field, and Protoss is up 30 army supply. I mean, honestly, right now, Reynor is just trying to catch up in that army, but I don't think herO is going to give him that time.
I actually wouldn't mind herO like going up to 4 bases now or adding a Robo Bay or something among these lines. Okay, he's going for Storm. I think that's an excellent choice as well. Just something, right? Like, yes, he can try to end it and he might be successful, but it feels like it's not that necessary as Lings are going to try to run into the natural. But herO is home in time. He's going to warp in his Zealot as well. He's going to be able to take care of these bases. I like that he's getting Storm because he just doesn't have to fight there. He could have, but he really doesn't have to.
Good denies on the 4th base so far by Reynor as well. This is what's kept herO's economy not that great, but it's the army. That's the real story here for herO. Just such a big army. And I'd actually love to see herO start just pushing. You know, split up, send some Zealot backstabs in while you push through the front. I think right now you've got such a big advantage you've built for yourself. No reason to wait in this game. Get across that map, take the fight to Reynor.
I do think we have to mention that Reynor does have +2 melee. And he could potentially get an insane amount of Banelings. And if the Banelings get some good connections with the Zealots, like I said, like Archon Immortal, it's funny, it's really powerful. Oh, those Storm drops.
Oh my gosh!
Those are sick. Those are really sick. That's a lot of Banelings going down immediately. Reynor is going to push his army back for a little bit, but he has lost an insane amount of units. And Reynor's economy is not as good as herO's.
Yeah, the Banelings just disappear. That was massive. Storm drop moving from Protoss vs Terran to Protoss vs Zerg as well. And these Immortal drops just constantly poking and prodding, picking away at the Creep Tumors, taking away the units where they can. Desperation, Great Aspire on the way, but you can't make Broodlords on their own. They need support right now. Reynor losing the ground battle.
I must say, he's doing a good job and like somehow still flexing his army in the middle of the map, right? These Ravagers are sort of holding the line with the Corrosive Bile ability, because they are definitely, this army of Reynor is nowhere near as strong right now as the army of herO, but he's somehow doing a good job in making it seem like he's got a big army, and herO has to worry about something, because after losing all those Banelings, normally you'd say herO's in a lot of trouble. A few more Storms will connect.
Oh, so many Banelings going down here. Another Storm drop getting ready. He's going to do it right on top of those Ravagers and Banelings. And he's had enough. There's just so many units here for herO. He's engineered a massive advantage for himself. Methodically picking away at Reynor, wearing him down step by step. And now we just see an unstoppable Protoss army marching into Reynor's base. Reynor cannot hang on. He's trying to fight for time for Broodlords, but there's just no way they'll get out in time. That is such a huge Protoss force.
12 Immortals are marching to victory. GG gets called, and herO takes a rather surprising 2-1 lead. Everyone's talking about Reynor. A lot of people think that Reynor was going to go ahead and just win this group like it would be that easy. herO is showing us that it's never going to be that easy at the global finals. He's playing incredibly well, Pick. I think you said it best when you said he's playing into his image. He's making it so damn difficult for Reynor to figure out what Reynor is going up against, and that's why Reynor is making a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes as well.
That's exactly what you got to do. StarCraft's not just about your raw mechanical skill. And even within, you know, someone being a macro player or a cheesy player, it's such a simplification, an oversimplification of all the depth in all of these players' talents. And we can see herO here showing that he has so many different things he can do. You can't play 100% safe against every option. You've got to take some more risks here. This series heating up right now. I can't wait to see what what happens in the rest of it. Guys, we'll be back in 1 minute after a very short break. right, and we are back here with herO versus Reynor, the second series of Group C. The scoreline's 2-1, both players trading maps back and forwards. As we are going to be heading into Thunderbird in just a minute. Roddy, your thoughts so far on this series?
Surprising. I mean, surprising day overall, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, if you would have asked the most of the StarCraft experts or the diehard fans, would be like, oh, Reynor is going to win his series and Classic is going to beat herO Marine. That was kind of the line of expectation. So far, the opposite is happening, but we ain't done yet with this one. I do believe that the young Italian can bring it back, but he's going to have to be a little more decisive from this point forward.
Yep, decisiveness, the key to it here. We are going to be launching into Thunderbird to see how it goes. Right up here in the top left-hand side of the map, in the red, the Protoss player. He is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
Definitely got that killer stare after that loss in game number 1. Down here in the bottom right-hand side, needs to be confident, needs to take more of an edge in the early game. The Zerg player, he is
Gamer's Origin, Reynor.
Ooh!
It was so close.
Dude! Oh, you could see, yeah. Oh, he's singing. He's got music playing right now. Yeah, he's having a good time. He's just jamming, man.
He's channeling his inner Hearthstone. If you guys wonder what I was talking about, once again in this game, game 4, a probe was making its way to the other side of the map, and it was a very fierce battle between the probe and the drone about whether or not Reynor could get his drone in time. And it actually, I almost thought it was a bit too late. I was like, he's too late, he's too late. And then on the minimap, I saw the hatchery appear, and I think that's why we saw Reynor smile as well.
Oh,
because
yeah.
he knew that was a very close call.
That's a very early probe to get here across such a big map so early, right?
It's just important for Zerg players, I think in general, to get an economy as standard as you want it. Like being forced to expand elsewhere just makes everything a little bit more awkward in the upcoming minutes. So I think these are these little victories that can mean a lot. I mean, we're talking a little bit about it in the lobby. It's important for Reynor that he's a little more decisive, right? A little more just straight to the point when it comes to his decisions. Because if you go back to Acropolis, it was just kind of weird. It didn't really feel like a Reynor game where it's like, he's gonna attack. No, he's not gonna attack. He's gonna attack. He's not gonna attack. It's like, where's this going, Reynor? Well, normally He is somebody who has such a clear game plan.
Oh, that probe tries to get a drive-by tase off on the drone. He's going to come back one more time. herO's hungry for it, man. He's been putting so much APM into this probe. This is such a herO thing to do. He's such a micro-oriented player, and he loves to just try and hunt down these little bits of harassment damage. But in the end, the Zerglings do come out and push him back. Fun little skirmish to start the game.
I think overall so far the round of 16 has been really awesome. We were talking about it a little bit in the break, but if you compare this round of 16 to the one we had last year, the level of gameplay has been phenomenal. It's been all way better. Best of 5s have definitely delivered a lot more than the best of 3s did last year.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, we're a little more than halfway through, I guess, with the round of 16, but I am a very happy nerd so far.
Adept is going to be coming across the map here. Overlord speed one more time here for Reynor. I like this in general as a build order. I think Overlord speed's a great idea. He's just got to push his economy a little bit harder behind that Overlord speed. We've been seeing him behind or even in workers for pretty much the duration of every single game they've played so far. And you've got to eclipse the Protoss at some point. If they're not going completely all in, you know, you've got to do that. And it's kind of funny because we don't think of Protoss as being so flexible. But when you are so afraid of herO's timing attacks, he's such a specialist in them, you just give him that little bit more respect to each one, and he kind of shows something aggressive and then just transitions once your scouting's done into a bit more economy, into some more upgrades. Reynor's got to just be comfortable, I think, stepping a little bit closer towards the edge of greediness. You know, toe the line a little bit more, get yourself set up, and if you can get 4 or 5 more drones out by the 6-minute mark, that can make a world of difference in the long run.
I think overall he's going to be quite happy with what he scouted here so far, right? A standard Stargate opening into an Oracle. This is the same build as we saw in Game 1 coming out of herO, and that didn't really work out. These two adepts could get annoying, but there are no drones to pick off there. But they do pull the Queens out of position for a split second, and herO somehow finds himself 4 drones and a little bit of lost mining time. He's going to get the 5th one too. Okay, this really should not have happened. And it's all because the Adepts pulled the Queens out of position. The Queens were in a perfect defensive spot, but the Adepts heading towards a base where there were no drones to kill anyway is what allowed all of this to happen.
This is one of the weaknesses of Overlord speed before Zergling speed. A Protoss player can chrono out 2 Adepts, come across the map, join them up with an Oracle. You don't have link speed. You can't go and surround those Adepts. They represent such a bigger threat because of that. So a lovely little maneuver here by herO, who's also got a Phoenix, shutting down this Overlord in the corner of the map. A very fast 3rd base on location. I love herO's opening so far. I think once again, he's pushing for that economic lead, doing the opposite of what we expect this player to go for.
Yeah, he's definitely showing us a lot more than what he showed early in the ring in Katowice, right? Where it was the most one-dimensional stuff, and he somehow kept making things work because he has great micro and he's got great execution overall. But like when it came to the strategic part, it really wasn't that much. I think he's already playing a much better best of 5 here. I like a lot of the things that he's doing. This Oracle is taking quite some damage. Now, of course, Thunderbird is a massive map, so losing 4 or 5 drones, that doesn't mean you're in immediate trouble. But it's important for Reynor that he cleans things up if he wants to turn this series around.
Yeah, he's got to get an idea of what's going on here as well. I mean, this wall-off up front is so nice for herO because it keeps him so safe, but he's already building up the sentry count, the Immortals being added in. Already seeing double hallucinations and an Observer out. We can see that this is a very different mode of herO. Economically focused, just checking on what Reynor's up to. Once again, though, economy looking so good for the Protoss player, and if he can just move out with this, force a bit of a response, all he wants Reynor to do is see these units moving out, and he wants Reynor to stop building drones, build a bunch of Roaches, Ravagers, Zerglings, and he has no intention of committing to this push. He's just going to go home, maybe come out again with a Warp Prism, but there's no way he's going to commit onto Creep for at least another minute and a half.
Yeah, I mean, he's building a Templar Archives now, right? And nobody really takes a game-deciding fight while he's also getting a Templar Archives. His Oracle still being annoying. Ray's going to try to kill the Stasis Trap, and he will succeed in doing so. You don't see that very often, right? That units are in the right place to kill the actual Stasis.
Very rarely you see Corrosive Biocast on one while it's building as well. That's like pretty rare, but good to see it actually shut down. Much better than having to pull your drones on and off and then send a unit into the Stasis, and then later, if that's a drone, you've got to give it in order to go back to mining. The Stasis Trap harassment, it's a big APM sink. If you let it get out of control, it can waste a lot of your attention and your time. Phoenix barely stops that Overseer from finishing and healing itself up.
Look at this, herO starts Storm immediately as soon as the Templar Archives is done. And I'm actually kind of surprised by that, right? Because it didn't feel like that was something that he was going to do here. You kind of expected him to just build some Archons, but instead he goes straight into Storm. And for now, herO is going to just be annoying with his Warp Prism and a couple of Adepts. He's going to try to find a tiny bit of economic damage. Won't really succeed in doing so, but I mean, obviously, as long as he has a Prism on the other side of the map with a couple of Adepts, he keeps Reynor at home, and that will allow herO to get his Storm tag done. And I mean, it's off 3 bases. It's a bit weird, maybe, because he's not getting a 4th yet. Okay, now he's taking a 4th base, and that makes a little more sense.
I like Reynor's economy a little bit more this game. He is going up to 80 workers now. Infestation Pit has finished as well as his 4th base finishing up. Hive on the way, and Aspire goes down immediately. Now, you're talking about Storm there. Showtime earlier, unfortunately eliminated from the tournament, but he was talking about how he doesn't like Storm as much at the moment. He was just kind of going a Mass Arc on Immortal style because he felt like you damage the Banelings, you barely seem to actually take them out though. But herO in that last game, I mean, he showed us Storm drop, seems to be the way. He thinks when your army's balled up, just ambush it, drop High Templar on top of it, go for a Storm drop. Even here, gonna try and look for Storm drop on the drones. Ooh, gets a few.
He gets a few, but I actually would have preferred if he didn't reveal the fact yet that he had Storm, right? Because I don't think that Reynor anticipated Storm here by herO. So imagine if Reynor makes an attack on that 4th base with all of his Banelings, and a lot of them are clumped up, and then you show up with a Storm. I think I would have liked that a tiny bit more, because now at this point, Reynor is aware of the fact that Storm is done, and he can start getting ready for that a bit better.
There's a lot of gateways going down here. herO just building up this massive ground army, adding Blink on the way as well. Of course, Blink Stalk is a decent counter to a small number of Broodlords that aren't too well supported. If you catch Broodlords in the open, Stalker's a great verse them, but if they've got Lings underneath them, Banelings, Ravagers, you add a few Fungals.
Oh, this is a nice Stasis, by the way. I love how herO's doing 2 things at once now. Like, he's being annoying with the Warp Prism, at the same time he's moving up with his army, and he's dropping Stasis Traps. Now, going on creep is always a bit dangerous, right? Because if the Baneling count is high here, there isn't that much that's great against Banelings. So are we going to get Baneling drops here?
They don't have +2 yet, but that's enough. 11 probes falling to that Baneling drop.
Storm?
Yeah, that's the Storm drop. I feel like you got to bring your Queens forward. You got to get rid of this Warp Prism.
Yeah,
So annoying.
First two Storms not getting too much done. This
That's
one.
fine, yeah. Reynor's totally happy with that. And I mean, if you force a fight on creep here, it's going to be really hard for you as herO. I mean, he's looking for more Storm drops. Oh, big first Storm there. Lots of those Banelings heavily bruised. He's looking for more.
Yeah, but he's not getting it yet. Still a few more High Templars in the mix though, and herO immediately puts those in the Warp Prism as well. But here we go, he's deep on creep.
Those Banelings find the center of the Archons and Immortals. A lot of them get into the Zealots!
The Zealots!
Oh my lord, every single Zealot just gets obliterated from the map. That was about 20 Zealots going down to the Banelings. And just like that, herO, he was handling the fight with so much finesse. But then Reynor saw a moment of inattention, pounced on it. And oh, what a turnaround. I thought things were going great for herO, but that just got smashed.
I mean, he did stand on creep for a very long time there, right? It felt like he was kind of slapping a beer in the face or something. It's like, what's ever going to happen here? It's like, well, eventually it might fight back, and that's kind of what happened there. Of course, all of the Zealots being clumped up the way it was, that made this incredibly painful. Reynor now is going to try to counterattack. He does have a great Aspire on the way, so this is one of those moments where it's like, okay, I just want to fight. I want it very decisively, but I'm also getting the Broodlords, right? So maybe I should step it back a little bit and actually just wait for my tech to kick in.
You know, I wish we saw some drones go across and open up the minerals on hero's third base.
Is that what we're seeing there?
No, it's just Zerglings. He's morphing Banes, I think, for a run by on the fourth base, just coming in from the north.
Oh, yeah. Drop Lord. And now he's got +2 melee, by the way, so he can one-shot those probes.
And we are going to see the Storm drops just constantly looking for clumped up units. Really annoying to deal with. The Queens, of course, have gone to deal with the Warp Prism. And some of them have already fallen in that previous battle. Another big push here. Wow, this is a wild push here. I don't know if Reynor was quite expecting this. He doesn't have a lot of Banelings right now.
But he is maxed out, right? He must be maxed out on something. I don't really know where all the units are. Oh, he's setting up a flank. Banelings coming in from behind. Oh. So those could connect with the Stalk. But this actually indeed is kind of scary because that's a lot of Stalkers. Yeah. And they do have Blink.
That is a big set of Side Storms landing on that army. Link's coming in from behind, but the army's a bit disjointed. Reynor was not expecting this push from herO. herO's got an army. There's not much splash. There's not a lot of tech to it. But you know what? That's a big pack of Blink Stalkers.
It's a lot of Lynx now out for Reynor, so taking care of that last Archon would be fantastic. Lynx can be quite good against his army. He wants to get the Prism. Can he get the Prism? There's one Corrupted chasing it down.
Banelings coming in on the Stalkers as well. They're going to find them. The Zerglings with +2 and the Banelings. It looks like they are going to defend those Stalkers. The Immortals pulling back on the left-hand side with that Warp Prism. Reynor, a moment where we thought he might be eliminated from this first match. But you know what? He hangs on. He's got the Broodlords out. He can heave a sigh of relief there. herO has lost all of the technical units in his army, and all he can do is rebuild units and go again.
The Broodlord count is going to be very, very low. There is an Observer there, by the way. This Observer is giving herO some useful info. I mean, herO's absolutely in trouble, but herO's also the one player that I believe can win games like this by some magical engagement where he somehow snipes the Broodlords and gets out of there. Stalker count is obviously not that high. Every second that goes by is a bad one for herO.
Whoa!
Because he's going up against a superior army.
Did you see that Broodling? It just like went like 3 screens. It just kept chasing the Stalkers as they retreated. Finally landed on the ground.
I believe I saw both the Muslim and herO Marine make a video about that. So, yeah, seen it before, Pick.
Oh man, the Stalkers, they're not really going to find an opening though.
Zerglings!
Oh dude, they've got Adrenal, don't they?
Yeah, I mean they attack real fast, so I think they do.
Like each one does as much damage as a Zealot basically. It's crazy once they get that Adrenal upgrade. Huge amount of attack coming out. And Reynor's stabilizing, his supplies getting higher. I really think I'd like to see him spreading creep and replacing his Queens. A few Queens in this army is so important because Storm Drop's been a problem, Warp Prisms have been a problem. And just generally the creep spread's going to be good. I mean, this is a longer game now. I think Reynor can kind of relax, take a deep breath, go into Infestors. Add more Queens, which he's doing now. Adding the +3 attack, the +1 flyer attack. These are all good things. Reynor's just got to kind of shore up his defenses, and I think he's in a great position.
I think you're spot on with everything you said, and I think Reynor would totally agree with you. It's just that I think that the nerves are getting to him a little bit, and the pressure gets to him, because he probably looked at that, not the last fight, but the fight before. He's like, whew, all right, I mean, that went fantastic. He's like, finally, I'm playing like Reynor again. And then that second attack, he absolutely did not expect it. And you can't blame him, because Which Protoss would ever attack after just losing 100 supply on creep and be like a minute later, let's do that again, you know? That doesn't make any sense, and that's actually what made the attack so terrifying, because Reynor was not anticipating it. So I think right now, as much as he would love to do all the things you just said, I think he's mentally recovering from everything that took place, but he's got Broodlords right now, and this army ain't good against Broodlords. The only thing that herO can do is blink underneath them, but how do you do that?
Yeah, so many Banelings coming forwards. I mean, great control by herO, minimizing the damage, but it doesn't matter. The Broodlords stand strong, despite some nice storm drops, a lot of Banelings going down there for not all that many Archons.
Wow.
We've still got a good economy for herO. herO's actually up to 86 probes in a 5th base as well.
How does he do that in games like this, you know? The man has lost 2 maxed out armies on creep, and now he's on 5 bases, and he's getting 3 Stargate fleet beacons.
And he's splitting his army into 2. He's hitting the bottom and the top at the same time.
Banelings actually just killed 16 probes, by the way. I believe it was a Baneling drop again on the 3rd base of herO. Now herO wants to fight back. He wants to get some damage on. That Prism is so low on HP.
Those Archons so big in there against Zerglings. Broodlords are coming down to defend this, but so many Zerglings go down beforehand. A really nice trade to start, but the surround here from Reynor comes in, and only 4 Stalkers get out of there. It looked like a good move for herO, turned out to be a little bit too much.
Yeah, maybe overstayed his welcome there, right? Stayed around quite some time. It's going to be a Mothership and Tempest. Alrighty, I mean, Tempest obviously can be useful against the Broodlords, especially if there's nothing to protect those broods, but now we do have the Infestor upgrade on the way for Reynor as well. Reynor's already banking quite some gas. He's got to be feeling quite good, probably still a little bit terrified. I mean, you are down 1-2 at the Global Finals. The winner of this match will move on to play against herO Marine, and I think both of them probably look at that match and be like, well, that's better than going up against Classic, right? So winning here is not just important because the Global Finals is the opening match. I think it's also giving you an excellent chance of maybe just making your way into that round of 8 immediately.
Yeah, indeed. Stalkers getting surrounded down here. Oh, High Templar in the open, just going to get smashed by those Zerglings. Slow response. Banelings in the mineral line.
He just got so much there. He got 3 High Templars, like 5 Stalkers, 16 probes, and there's a little skirmish in the right top side of the map as well. These Lings do not mess around. Jeez Louise.
He's adding carapace upgrades as well. Not that big right now, but if you get to +2 carapace, and herO hasn't added any armor upgrades, of course, losing all these probes, your Zerglings start to destroy Zealots in fights as you get armor upgrades ahead of their attack upgrades. So it's going to make a good difference as things continue. And right now...
Do we have any Corruptors out, by the way?
Yeah,
no,
right? we don't. It's just Broodlords. And with those Tempests out, you've got to be very careful with the Broodlords because there's no supply free as well. Like, I actually prefer holding off on the Corruptors for now because you can do this. You can't go and attack these bases nearly as easily with Corruptors. Oh, the Storm's there. Really good. Great hold on.
The thing is, though, like 11 Infestors is a decent amount, but it's not exactly the dream amount, right?
Yeah, he needs more.
Yeah, he kind of needs more, especially if you don't have any Corruptors, because there are scenarios where suddenly there is nothing to combat these Tempests anymore. And if your Broodlords are out of position, and these Tempests can get a couple of shots off real quick. Tempests are not the best fighting units out there, but they do take care of Broodlords very quickly if they have free reign. And it's 7 Tempests now. He's going up to 9. What?
The problem for herO is he's trying to expand to the very top and the very bottom. So continuing to commit your supply here to Lingbane Ravager is actually the perfect response from Reynor. He knows he can kind of attack both sides. herO can't defend both of them. As long as he just pulls his Broodlords back, he might have to give up this base on the south. Reynor just needs to make sure he doesn't lose his Broodlords.
I really don't think he's going to do that. He's going to try to defend. That Fungo actually revealed the Observer there. Getting the Obs would be big.
Dude, there's nothing in the natural wall. There's nothing on the 4th base. Right now, herO is wide open. A single cannon is not going to cut it against that. The probes getting massacred.
Yeah, that whole position as well. All the probes going down immediately. The cannon goes down. I think herO is going to come back home, but he's not even going to save this. Nexus, these buildings are just falling like flies. And at this point, Reynor now also knows there are a lot of Tempests out. So now he can start adding a few more Corruptors in the mix as well.
I like that he's replacing the drones he's spending on Spore Crawlers as well. Easy to kind of lose track of your economy in this situation, but Reynor is super on point. He's keeping that drone count up above 70. Corruptor count's going up. Neural Parasite. This Tempest count's going crazy for here. I think that's too many Tempests.
I think so as well. He's getting Disruptors now, and I like the idea of air units and Disruptors. I'm a big fan of it. But he doesn't really have anything that's good in actual fighting right now, right?
Well, I mean, just raw Corruptors kills that. If you don't land perfect storms, 15 Corruptors beats this army, essentially. So
you're right.
It's something which counters Infestors and Broodlords really well. It's terrible against Corruptors. herO needs to try to find a way to trade right now.
It's even terrible against Zerglings and Banelings and Roaches. I mean, nothing is really good against, like nothing really fires quick.
As long as you have an Overseer, yeah, 30, 40 Lings run in there, you're going to lose all your High Templar and Disruptors instantly.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
There's two big weaknesses to this army, and yet he continues to build the Tempest. I wouldn't mind Void Rays being mixed in. He's just added oh no, his +1 Flyer isn't even done. His air upgrades are terrible. hero's in big trouble right now. I mean, he wants to pick off these Broodlords, but that's a lot of Infestors, and Reynor, he's posturing with another backstab here, looking for that 4th and 5th base once more.
Just running into the natural would be sick, right, for the Reynor. There's actually a lot of probes that he could potentially pick up there. Fungal does connect, and now he's going to steal a couple of these Tempests as well.
Wow, that is big. Going to do a lot of damage. Those units going to retreat, and of course just going to take out these units that have been neural parasited. A whole pack of Tempests fall. Looks like that base was defended there by the Cannon and the Immortal somehow.
Yeah, that Immortal is really putting in the work. Like more probes are going down somewhere on this map, and I'm starting to feel that herO is just running out of steam. Yes, he still has a big army. He's got a little bit of money in the bank, but I think this is an inferior army. I just don't think that this army is really capable of beating much at all. Yeah. I mean, unless Reynor just sits there forever and like lets these Tempests shoot at all of his units and let them.
He's building more Infestors, which is kind of, it can work here. You know, he showed with the Fungal it works just okay. You just got to watch out for these Disruptor shots.
Disruptors are terrifying. This time the Spellcasters will show up. We still have a couple of Storms available as well.
Yeah, where are those Storms? He needs to land them right now. Time Warp goes down. He needs the Storms. There we go. Storms landing on top of those Corruptors, but almost all of the Tempests have fallen by this point, and the Broodlords still reign supreme. You've got nothing to counter those Broodlords right now. It looks like Reynor just a little bit too good in this endgame stage.
Yeah, obviously got to the endgame stage while being ahead as well, right? I think that's important. People often focus on endgame armies and they're like, wow, this army is so much better than the other one, but GG gets called. Reynor was ahead before we even got to this stage.
Massively.
It got a bit dicey with that second wave, that second attack that herO came up with out of nowhere. I mean, which absolute mad lad would make another attack after just losing a maxed out army? Apparently it's herO, and he got close to winning that big with those Stalkers and stuff as well. I was like, oh my goodness. I think you can almost feel the tension from Reynor all the way up here.
It's that funny moment, you know, it's, oh, he would never do another push. Let's put a Bane drop on the north. I'll get a Ling Bane backstab ready. Let's make a few more drones, make some Broodlords. Wait, what? There's a pack of Archons and Stalkers pushing in my front. Reynor couldn't believe it, and you know, herO there with such a cool start, just can't get over the Storm Drop that he uses to initiate these pushes. Just 2 High Templar poking forward, Storm Drop. Goes in, pulls back, goes in, pulls back, and he's trying to bait the Zerg into kind of just 1Aing everything, clumping it up, and then dropping these big storms on it. And it's clearly putting a lot of pressure on Reynor.
I really wish that he wouldn't have revealed Storm with that drop on the, well, 4 or 5 drones that he got. Because I think if he keeps that hidden, if he just puts it in a War Prism, and then just kind of like shows on the edge of creep, and maybe he can bait Reynor into engaging into him. And obviously when you engage, your units will always clump up quite a bit. I think there was perhaps some more value in that strategy. Either way, we're all tied up, getting ready for Game 5. Pick, it's going to be played on Winter's Gate.
Let's go, Winter's Gate. Here we go, game number 5. All right, it all comes down to the line here. On map number 5, down here in the bottom right-hand side, the Korean Protoss player, he is
Triumphant Song Gaming, herO.
And up here in the top left-hand side, stabilizing the scoreline and fighting to finish this series off. In the top left, hailing from Italy, he is
Gamer's Origin, Reynor.
Another game where Reynor is not going to be able to take his natural at first, Big.
Yep, that early probe, such a powerful force in this series.
Oh, wow. Reynor pretending he expanded, actually sends a drone back. herO being a greedy boy, could have potentially dropped the pylon there, right? You can always drop the pylon, go into the main, and then cancel the pylon again while you go back.
It's still, of course, about a 7-second delay on the natural, so it's something, but you know, you really do want to hang around to make sure they're
wow,
doing
that was an Evo. He built an evolution chamber.
We call that doing a Scarlet.
Yep. IPL 3 it was in Las Vegas back then.
Oh, no. I mean, at least you realize straight away. Losing a few minerals, a frustrating mistake there, definitely a show of nerves.
Yeah,
Something we see players who are new to the pro scene do all the time.
I must say, I feel like I've seen it a little bit throughout the entire series, right? Like, it's always very easy to say somebody is nervous, but it's hard to actually pinpoint on like where you can see it. But I don't think Reynor was playing a bad series at all, right? Because if he was playing a bad series against somebody who's as good as herO, he would have been down and out 0-3 already. So it's not bad, but I do feel like you can see that he's playing under pressure.
Absolutely, right from map number 1. Even though he's executing things so well, there's just these 1 or 2 rare small mistakes he's making. You know, where he starts droning as he spots sentries coming across the map in game 1, that sort of thing. But you know what? He's got to pull it together here, map number 5. If there's one player who I think I would always be nervous to play against, it's herO. He's so dynamic, he's got such range.
That's Robo.
It's a smaller map, Winter's Gate, even though it's got the slow fields, which kind of, I guess, expand it. You know, it's a map where it's not too hard to get a push
Robo
across.
is so fast, by the way, Big. That's a 220 Robo. Like
Pre-warp gate research.
Yeah.
Did he pull off?
Do
Oh,
you-
no. Okay.
I mean, it could potentially be a Marjorie, but I feel like the European Zergs, they are born learning how to defend Marjorie, so we'll see. I think herO is absolutely kind of brought us to bust a build like that out once in his tournament. Reynor has gone for quite a bit of Overlord speed, but not every game.
Yeah. This Adept's going to come in here, being as annoying as possible. He's going to get a drone. He even cancels the shade there. Reynor not prepared for this. Uh-oh.
And there you go. He's morphing the wrong drone into the Spore Crawler there. Like, once again, it's very easy to say players are nervous, but it's hard to often say, like, in what you can see it on. Reynor, if he's on fire, he doesn't
there's another
lose.
Adept in the natural as well.
Oh, no. And loses another drone there. This is getting painful, by the way.
This is herO's dream. Anything he can do, create chaos in the game is good, and he's just got both Adepts out of there.
Wow.
3 workers killed, but not just the 3 workers. Lost mining time, missed injects, and of course, I think it was like 3 or 4 Spore Crawler tricks, which is a lot of potential cost going into those resources not being spent on more drones.
Perfect execution there by herO. I think he did everything right, but once again, Reynor making a couple of misclicks. Like, he morphed a full HP drone into a Spore Crawler, was struggling a little bit.
He doesn't know it's Robo, so he's built a Spore Crawler for safety here against Oracle.
Oh, no. He's really falling apart a bit.
It is a Forge for
Did
herO.
he cancel Overlord? He cancelled Overlord speed. He had it on the way, but he must have cancelled Overlord speed based on something, I guess, he saw.
Yeah.
Or maybe the fact that he feel like he already lost a lot of mining time. He lost a couple of drones, and he just felt that this is really cool, by the way. herO is actually quite good in this. He's going to shade in a couple of times, and then he can pick it up again. I remember he did this on King's Cove like 7 times in a row. And I am Katowice, and I was like, that's a really cool play.
Yeah, very good with just a Prism and 2 Adapts. He can create a lot of damage, a lot of threat in his opponents. Dives in here deep.
Yeah, it's a drone though. And it's, okay, Reynor's, excuse me. herO's actually playing super well, and it feels like Reynor is in trouble here.
You ever played Ring Around the Reynor? Like, this is like a child's playtime game that herO is playing right now with these Adepts. He's having so much fun. It's the same 2 Adepts from the start of the game.
Now he's in the slow zone as well. He's eating a lot of shots from that Queen.
This is really, like, herO is in his element when he can just micro small units to harass his opponent down over and over. He's progressing, adding the +1, Immortals and Sentry count building up. This time, though, I've got to say, yeah, Reynor's making small micro errors. You know what he's doing fantastically? Droning very hard in the early stages. So despite the damage, he got himself a small worker lead. He's now turning that into a mass of Roachling.
Yep.
I think this is much better play for Reynor in that regard.
Oh, he's going to get on top of the sentries as well. Reynor is catching a massive break here. Gets the first sentry,
1, 2,
second sentry, and he gets number 3 as well. Wow, that's massive.
A probe goes down as well there. A couple Zerglings get in the main. He sees the entire tech tree. Builds a handful of workers. No more workers, Reynor. You need to be building roaches and lings. He queues up more drones. Reynor, you just seen more gateways, Immortals, and a Warp Prism. I mean, more lings are going to get in here, but he's being very greedy behind this. Reynor has got to respect this push.
These lings are actually going to get quite a few probes over here as well, Pig. That's 4 probes going down, and all of these lings are still alive as well. Now, herO is going up to 3 bases, but we know that that doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't want to attack you.
You know what? He killed the sentries, and I think he's realized herO's just going to fake the push and not commit to it.
Yeah.
And he's able to get straight up to 60 workers.
And he's right, and he's going to get the prism here.
Oh my gosh, that is terrible for herO. Reynor is being greedy on the economy and slapping down the harassment at the same time. And suddenly, we see this young Italian player, even when it seems like some things are going wrong, he is hitting everything else just right behind it.
It feels that almost everything went wrong, Pig, in the first few minutes of this game, but one little Ling run by, it's something that we talk about all the time that he's so damn good at. He gets it done, he gets the sentries, and suddenly the tables are turned and it feels everything is going Reynor's way, and now herO is the one who's in a lot of trouble.
You know, we used to talk about different players' Zerglings, and how when they dive into these bases, like, you're like, man, they always find a way in. It's the same with Reynor.
Yep.
It's not that he did anything special with those Lings, it's just that he looks for the opening more than other players. He's just always probing with those Zerglings, so he finds the mistakes from his opponents more often because of that.
The first Hydra then of the series, Piggy.
Hey, Roach Hydra, very safe composition. Looks like you might play Roach Hydra Lurker then. Oh my god. One of those Adepts is the one from the start of the game. It has 8 kills. 8 kills! Ah! Another drone goes down. 6 Lurkers there.
These Adepts have been phenomenal for herO. If it wasn't for those 2 Adepts, I think he actually would have been down and out in this game already.
Yeah.
Because not everything has been one big party. I do think you're right when it comes to the Lurkers. I've seen quite a few games of Reynor lately where he likes to go Lurker. I feel the majority of the games it is just that Ravager Bane style.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be at least Hydras for now, but there goes that Lurker then immediately, so...
Yeah, I mean, the Lurker push is really powerful.
Wow, look how fast that second Robo Bay is. Now, we've seen a couple of Colossus games in this series, but this is the kind of game where I'd be like, disrupt this, please, herO.
Dude, Disruptors are so good against those Lurkers. I mean, you can kind of dodge the shots sometimes, but it's very hard with those Lurkers if they don't have adaptive talents.
Exactly. Before Hive Tag, I think it's very hard. I think with Hive Tag, then suddenly it becomes a much more playable game for the Lurker player, but if you don't have that upgrade, it becomes difficult. Where
do you think that Lurker push wants to come from? Just the north side of the third base and just try to wedge itself in range of the third Nexus, or do you go straight for the natural on this map?
I'm actually going to tell you that I'm not sure if he has the confidence to go for a Lurker push. He might just sit back for quite some time.
Infestation Pit's going down, 10 more drones. I mean, Adaptive Talons Lurkers, that's the Lurker speed upgrade, which not just makes them waddle around the map faster, it means they literally leap out of the ground. Like
why do we have 2 Lings in the main base, Pig?
Because they're Reynor Lings, man. They've got like a special key code to the front. They just swipe it as they run past the gateway in the Cybercore.
That's Warp Prism speed as well, right? That's on the way?
Yeah, he's going to do Disruptor drops on this army. Oh, herO, you're so cool.
I actually think both Robo upgrades are very good here. I think getting Observer speed against the Lurker play is also...
Like, it's actually really good.
It's such an underrated upgrade, by the way. Like, people laugh about it when you say, like, oh, Observer upgrade is really important here. But I really think it can save so many games because it's very easy to lose your Observers when you play against somebody with Hydras and Overseers.
And we're going to see Stalkers and double Robo Disruptor, the first Lurkers morphing here for Reynor. Lurkers are one of the most powerful defensive units in the game, right? They can just defend almost any ground-based attack. And Stalkers, if they end up blinking into Lurker attacks, it is so bad for them.
Well, he's looking for it. Reynor has been looking for it, and he's going to find these 3 Zealots. Finds the Prism as well. Gets the Prism, so that's very nice. Now, this may give him some more confidence to move out. But if I know I'm going up against Disruptors and I don't have Adaptive Talents for my Lurkers, would you move out? I really don't think I would.
No, I think it's totally fine to just defend here. There's not that much meat to the Protoss army. You can't really shove your way in. herO would love to pick away at him, you know? He says, set your army up in front of me so I can just shoot Disruptors, so I can go bowling. But I don't think Reynor's going to give him that opportunity. Do you think you just add Vipers to support this as you get to Hive Tech, or just mass Hydra? Like, you know, how do you play this?
I definitely think Vipers would be fantastic here because we don't have High Templars, right? Wow, these Roaches somehow find a Disruptor, and there goes the first Viper immediately. I think Vipers are perfect units here, Pick. We might get some Lurker drops as well. I cannot believe the series we're getting in the round of 16 this year, Pick. Like, I'm just having a smile on my face. I remember last year being a bit grumpy because it wasn't much, you know, until that final series. Special Classic was sick in the end. But other than that, we didn't get too much to get excited over. Game 5 here between Reynor and herO. Both players having a very strong economy. Things look all right for Reynor, but I mean, that's Roaches, right? You want to get rid of Roaches eventually. But still, it all comes down to this. Game 5, both players can still win it. The winner will move on to play against herO Marine. That's a slow drop.
Yeah, and it's going straight towards the Protoss army as well.
That's amazing. I think he forgot that he cancelled Overload speed at the beginning of the game.
He's just started it again.
That's awesome. All right, Adaptive Talents is almost done, by the way. herO stepping on creep. He really wants to go for it big.
The Lurkers aren't in position right now. Those disruptor shots through the slow field look ridiculous.
Yep.
They are slowed down.
Oh, now Reynor's a bit out of position. You got to be careful when you go all the way up that ramp, Reynor.
He's in a little bit of an awkward position as Zerg is just kind of trailing through this army. But good dodges on the disruptor shots. Only a single Lurker falling so far. 2
Lurkers there, I think. Oh, this drop is still going. All right, it's finally done. So it can really go forward. A couple of disruptive shots. These will completely whiff and very, very good adapts. I really think the MVP units here are those Vipers you mentioned, Big, because there is no clear counter for the Vipers.
And every time you abduct a disruptor, it will cancel any shot that it's fired out mid-shot. The shot will not explode, it will just dissipate. So abduct, really good. Similar to Phoenix Lift, it cancels those shots.
So what he's getting as well.
Observer speed.
Because he lost his observers on creeping. Okay, there's another observer showing up. A couple of abducts landing on these disruptors. 2 disruptors go down. The other one is very low in HP.
And Lurker drops coming in here. And that cannon cannot stand against 2 Lurkers. 2 Lurkers on the natural starting to do massive economic damage. herO needs to get in there. He gets on top of the Hydras. Those Hydras getting smashed. The Zealots making Zerg sushi on Reynor's 3rd base.
Yeah, this is a bit dangerous because Reynor's got a lot of minerals in the bank, but he really doesn't have that much gas, right? So if you end up losing a few more of these expensive units, it's such an interesting little dance. The Lurk is getting good shots off, but they are very exposed.
The Zealot flank from the north came in, dragged half of those Lurker shots to the side. Reynor just lost the core of his defense right there. He's got nothing on the ground. 7 Hydras, 2 Lurkers, and a pack of Zerglings. Has herO cracked him? herO's only got a small army. Reynor's got to pull back. He's got to do anything he can to hang on here.
And he's pulling drones as well. The Hydra's getting a decent fight there on the north side, but Guardian Shield helping out quite a bit as well. Reynor is down in supply for the first time in a very long time. That Prism is still going strong as well.
Big blink warp in from the left-hand side. They right-hand side. They blink in over to the left.
44 drones went down.
The drone count got massacred though. Reynor pulled his drones into Archons and charge lots. He's trying to build Roach Hydra. If he can hang on, he's got a chance. He's got some units here, but that's a lot of Immortals. That is just too many Immortals. He clicks on the Warp Prism, cancels the warp in, and the Blinding Cloud forces herO back down that ramp.
Sniping that Prism just saves him, actually. Keeps him in this game. Now he's going to abduct a couple of those expensive units, and I feel Lynx would be so good here, right?
And his Lurkers have moved into the main base of herO. They're doing even more damage up there. And right now, herO going to move down. He's going to eliminate this base. He's cleaned it up at home as well. He lost his natural nexus.
What a game.
3 base versus 3 base. Reynor way behind on economy, and a whole pack of drones. They hide in the corner. They do survive for now. Lurkers and Vipers are incredible units right now. They actually hard counter herO's army. herO's recognized this though. He's making a Templar Archives. Archon's going to be a great way to spend his gas, but most importantly, High Templar and Feedback are going to shut those Vipers down.
I'm just so worried about the economy of Reynor, man. 41 drones, that's really not much. Then on top of that, the 4th and 5th got picked off. Those are more important bases than the natural. Like, he killed the natural, but the natural is almost mined out anyway, right? The bases that herO lost are not as important as the ones that Reynor lost. Reynor is going to get a few more Lurkers. Obviously, it's a good way to buy time, but even Storm on the way as well. These Vipers, those Blinding Clouds in the end were super important. I thought it was over. I really thought Reynor was down and out. He's still in all the trouble, but he's still alive.
I think Reynor will need to slide some sort of counterattack across the map. It seems like Zerglings will be the option for now. At some point, I'd love to see another Lurker drop go across, but right now, desperately rebuilds his economy back to 50 workers. He can't build more drones than this until he can secure a new 4th base. Right now, he just does not have the units, so it's just more Lurkers, more Zerglings trying to build up that defensive force to keep him alive.
Getting that one Disruptor, by the way, would already help so much, right, in keeping his Lurkers alive.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got a lot of Storms available here, but Storm is not that fantastic against Lurkers, especially not with Adaptive Talents. The Vipers getting forward, you gotta be careful, because feedback is available this time.
You can actually abduct the High Templar into the Vipers as well. Keep in mind, that is actually a very powerful option, since the feedback doesn't one-shot them anymore.
He's building 2 Stargates, by the way. herO feeling that he probably can't break Reynor here.
There's no way. I mean, you can't break this army. Abduct is really powerful here. I'd love to see him actually go for the Abduct, because there's no high ground vision from herO.
Well, there's
Abducting
observers,
1 or 2
right?
High Templar could be nice.
There's an Observer flying around.
Yeah.
I understand that Reynor is like probably way too nervous right now to make crazy plays with his Vipers. I mean, feedback will most likely damage, if not kill, these Vipers, because I believe a couple of them took damage already from the fight before. I mean, herO getting 2 Stargates now is a pretty sick play, right? what would you go? I would go carriers here, right? I think carriers would be absolutely fantastic. But then I do think you need to get air upgrades immediately, because 0-0 carriers are quite...
A couple of Tempests can work just to pick away at your opponent, but I don't think you want to go this mass Tempest that we saw you know, earlier.
Dogs, good land here. The lurkers are already set up. Reynor is running a couple of Hydras. The army supplies are very close, by the way. 98 against 99 at this point.
Oh, we're going to need to see Blinding Cloud potentially abduct. 2 Immortals just get obliterated off the face of the map. And Zealots come in. Yeah, great movement by herO. Splits the Zealots into the mineral line. Forces Reynor to come up here. And then he just evacs. Great tactical engagement there. Feedbacks on the Vipers. Wow, nicely done here by herO. Look at that, just taking the trades. Again, oh, an ambush!
Oh. Lost the Observer, right? Again?
I think he did. It was sieged up in the slow zone. Oracles are there, though, so those lurkers are going to need to get out of there. Going to have to be
I mean,
careful.
herO doesn't have to take these crazy fights, right? Like, that was cool play. I do agree with you. And he's going carriers. I love that. Did he lose his Cybercore by any chance? No, right? Because then he can build Stargates.
It's still in the natural wall. It does still exist.
You got to get +1, though. I really feel that getting +1 is super important.
The Viper energy is gone. Remember, the Oracle tag, the best way to detect these lurkers as they move around. And herO here just looking to create space for himself. He knows if he can get out 6 carriers, the Hydras are probably going to lose that battle. So he's just got to buy time, make sure the lurkers can't get across the map to siege up on his bases. So he's looking for space. He's going to backstab on the north with a Zealot and an Archon, really doing a good job of buying time. herO has the bigger economy. He's building the better units. He will win in the long game.
Reynor did re-establish 9 o'clock, though, and that's massive, right? Because that was not something that we thought he was going to be able to do. But while moving those lurkers around, he kept his initial 3rd base alive, and now he's getting his 4th base as well. But it's important that the Lynx or an Overseer or an Hydra, something, scouts the carriers. I think fighting 3 carriers is doable, even though he really doesn't have a lot of
Big
NPR.
Zealot backstab here from herO. Even though a couple of Immortals get grabbed, which is nice, you do not have enough units as Reynor. You can't defend your economy. His economy is just getting blitzed by that Zealot backstab.
Well, the Immortals are getting picked up on board. High Templars, you got to be careful there, herO. Now the carrier count is at 3, the Hydra count is at 17. 17 Hydras can win that fight, because once again, the carriers do not have upgrades.
Yep, that is true. Only 14 Hydras so far. They've gone back to clean up the Zealots and Archons. They do take a bit of damage there as well. Remember, Abduct on the carriers can also be super huge. Oh my god, those High Templar. Those High Templar, he's got to be really careful there. I mean, Ricardo Reynor, he's got control of that ramp. He can start to push forward on this other side. The
so sick.
Oh, the Zealots are getting ruined. The Zealots just took so much damage. If those Zealots get on the Hydras, that's huge. The Hydras are in trouble right now. He's pulling back. He wants to engage just the Interceptors on their own.
I think he can fight 3 carriers, but it's going to be 4 carriers now. He's going to abduct one of the new carriers. It takes a lot of damage. Storm does land on these Hydras, but his game is still so close. I think Reynor is starting to do it big. I really think he is.
Oh man, he's been down on economy for so long. He hasn't even rebuilt that 3rd base. He's so focused on microing this army forwards. Are we going to see another abduct? Yes, we are. A full health carrier. Another one.
Oh
2 abducts, 2 carriers fall. That's huge. The Interceptor count gets wrecked. These Interceptors are gone. Those 2 carriers are now flying paperweights for the next 2 minutes. The Hydras and Lurkers winning this battle. Reynor, how is he doing this? His economy's been down for so long, but he finds this window just before the carriers hit the critical mass.
I have never seen this many Zerg units out of 47 drones. I really don't know where he's getting these Hydras from. But we've got 24 Hydras now, and herO's losing his important bases this time. This 4th base is going down. All of these probes are in so much trouble. He is recalling them, maybe to his 5th. Now, this is still an army that can absolutely do some damage. Does he still have Robos or something? What about a Disruptor? Can he squeeze that in? Is that possible?
Right, I'm not sure if he's going to have time to. He's going to go for the base trade now. A good call here by herO. Now remember, he's just used a recall. He's sneaking probes out of that northern base. He's accepting that most of his bases are going to go down here. Hydraling moving back across the map. The Lurkers mostly still on the north side here.
Okay, a couple of Lurkers are taking some damage here, but we have 28 Hydras at this point.
He blinks on the Vipers. Both Vipers go down. One abduct gets off in time, but there is no splash damage left on the ground. The drone's even being pulled into the fight. Reynor comes back and smashes it out. A hard-fought series down to the wire. The relief absolutely clear on his face. What a wild game.
I have absolutely nothing to say, Big. That was so sick. What a victory by Reynor in the end here. At his first series ever at the WCS Global Finals. He was down 2-1. Game 5, you could see the nerves. He's building an Evo chamber. He's morphing the wrong drones into spore crawlers. He fell behind at one point. He was in a good spot and suddenly in a terrible spot. But in the end, he had a tiny window to still win it before the carrier count would get out of control. And somehow he got the job done. Amazing. What a best of 5.
What a wild game. I mean, this is such a Reynor game as well. I feel like he ends up in these situations so often where it's just down to the wire every single unit. And I mean, I felt he was actually looking really good. And then the Zealot positioning, those Zealots got in the mineral line. We saw a flank from two sides breaking the lurkers. Some of that magic which only herO could have made happen in that game.
Remember that Prism snipe in the natural? If he doesn't snipe the Prism there, I think it's just game over. I think that would have been it. I think herO would have just run away with the best of 5. Absolutely amazing. Reynor does win it. He will move on to play against herO Marine in the winners match.
Absolutely awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear from the man himself. He's down there on the stage with Smix.
It was herO taking on Reynor for the second match in this group, and what a phenomenal series. It went all 5 maps, Reynor. It was so close. Did you expect it to be as difficult as it turned out to be?
Not really. I really prepared for herO and I knew how he played, but you know, I'm a bit dumb sometimes. So the plan was for him to attack me, and 2 times it didn't happen. 2 times I lost. So I was like, the 4th game when it was 2-1 for him, I was like, okay, let him attack me, please don't attack him. Yeah, it was a good series though. Yeah, I had fun.
There were so many maps that were so exciting to watch. I want to start with Ephemeron because he came and it was looking pretty scary, and then you were able to snipe his Prism. Talk about that moment for you.
Yeah, I thought he would have an observer on the other side, but then I saw he didn't react, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for it. Prism is mine, and when you kill the Prism, usually you can hold them. From there, it was quite even. Yeah, so I let him attack me and I won.
So the score was 2-2. It came all the way down to that last map, and then things got even crazier. It felt like that last map was the closest out of all 5. At what moment did you realize you had won? Because even as we were watching, it was hard to tell.
Never, basically, until he said GG, because it was like he's gonna have 10 carriers now, and I saw 3 and I snapped 1, and I was like, okay, that's it. But yeah, it was definitely a close game because I was winning, and then EA moved me, and I was like, okay, no winning anymore, apparently. So yeah.
Okay, well now with this victory, you're moving forward to that winners match, and it's going to be herO Marine as he won earlier today. There'll be a PvT. How are you feeling about that Terra matchup right now?
It's fine. I think Gabe is really strong. He's obviously very big. So yeah, it's gonna be a hard match. Yeah, but I'm very confident about PvZ. Yeah, so it's gonna be fun, I guess.
Awesome. Well, congratulations once again. We'll be witnessing him playing again very, very soon, because after this commercial break, it's that winners match that we'll be witnessing coming up right away. It will be Big Gabe taking on Reynor.
2019 WCS Global Finals, Round 16.